Okay, we are live. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Burning some Palo Santo, a beautiful protective healing plant. Has the most incredible smell. And then we have a lot of new people here in the group. So, welcome, new people. I thought it would be fun to go just to hop on spontaneously and do a live. I felt called to. And when I feel called to, I just listen to that and let it guide me. So, today we're going to be talking about how to stop the constant uphill battle and surrender to the flow of life. And if you can relate to feeling like you're constantly moving like a boulder up a hill, or if you felt this way at certain times and in certain aspects of your life, then let me know in the chat whether you're watching this live or in the replay later. I love knowing what resonates with you guys. So let me know if this resonates for you, and make sure if you're here live, let me know if you can see and hear me okay. That's always super helpful as well. And for those who are just hopping on, we're talking about how to stop the constant uphill battle and surrender to the flow of life. I had this really, really interesting conversation with my Medicine Within students last week. And it was just really beautiful situation because we had a new student who just joined, and we have another student who's about to graduate soon. And so it was like getting to hear their experience from the beginning of the journey and what that's like, all the way up into what it's like. As there's not really ever an end to like healing and awakening and growing and being of greater service, being even more embodied, but coming to the point in the journey where someone is about to like share their healing gifts. They've done their own healing and then they're sharing it now. And what really came up was the topic of just letting go and surrendering to the flow of life. And so, a new student, and this is really how it is for a lot of people when I start working with them, is this feeling of, okay, I'm working with you now. So people I work with change a lot. There's a lot of growth that happens. Be ready to dive all in. A lot's going to shift in a really beautiful and powerful way. And what that does is it can be really triggering to the ego. So the ego is the part of you that is unconscious, has unconscious programming and false perceptions about yourself, others, and life, like beliefs like not feeling worthy or good enough, or feelings of scarcity, like there's never enough, like I'm not, like you're not safe. All of these things that these beliefs that come in unconsciously when we're very young, they form what we know as the ego. So it's like the false self, as opposed to your higher self, which is your true self. So you are the soul that came into this world to experience life as a human. And as you came into this world, throughout your very early ages and in past lifetimes, you form these beliefs about yourself and life and others that aren't necessarily true. And they're not true because they limit you and they make you feel uncomfortable in your body and stressed and not good. And so they're not aligned with the truth of who you are, which is limitless, expansive, free, full of love, connected. This is the truth of who you are, your natural state as your higher self. And so anything that doesn't feel like that is part of the ego. And so when I start working with people, we begin working together, they often, their ego gets really activated because it's like, okay, now you're in this safe space. You have this container where it's safe for all of the stuff to come up so it can be released. And this happens also when you make a decision. So, for example, when you decide to become a healer, when I decided to become a healer, it was a gradual process. But when I was on this path, all of these things that were coming up from my subconscious of like not feeling worthy, not feeling good enough, no one's gonna want this, I'm gonna be too woo, I'll get canceled, all of these things that a lot of healers deal with in the beginning, especially. this comes up not as a way, it's not meant to stop you. It's meant to be witnessed and released so that you can move forward. Because these have been the subconscious programs that have been there your whole life blocking you. And so your soul and the universe is so beautiful in that it shows you, oh, you want this thing? Great. This is what's been in the way. But without the right help and support, we often see this and we're like, oh my gosh, I'm not worthy, or subconsciously think that. But what it feels like is resistance, like an invisible wall, like a lead weight, avoidance. Ooh, I don't want to anymore. That's what it feels like. And so then we can go back into what was small and familiar before, like that kept us stuck. And that's what can happen when we try to do it all by ourselves, when we don't have the right support and someone from outside of us to say, hey, this is what's coming up. It's okay. Let's release it and move through it together so you can come back into the truth of who you are, which is limitless, free, expansive, capable of anything, and inherently worthy. So this is where it's really important to have support on this path, because the first step is always to decide what you want, but then the next step is to get support and shifting the pieces that are not aligned to getting that. And it's going to happen. I always tell people like this, it's to be expected. And it's not that we're trying to manifest it, it's that it's underneath the surface. And when it comes up, you can release it and be free of it and move forward with so much more ease. So what does it make, when it feels like life is a constant uphill battle, why is that? What is that battle? Like, why does it feel like you're pushing a boulder up a hill and it's just continuous? That is a result, that feeling is a result of being identified with the ego, of fighting against life, of not being open to receive guidance from your higher self, from your spirit guides, from divine consciousness. It's the ego that feels separate from life, that feels disconnected, that feels unsafe, that feels unworthy. And so these are all the subconscious programs of, maybe you, for example, maybe you grew up in a home where where money was a constant struggle. And as a result, your subconscious is familiar with that. So it unconsciously creates situations in your life and notices only the opportunities that would allow you to access the level of what you're familiar with financially. And if that's struggle, then your subconscious mind will keep playing that over and over again. Or, for example, if you don't do this inner healing work, like I've made lots of money in my business and lots of launches, but then lost that because I hadn't fully healed the subconscious blocks to feeling worthy of receiving that and sustaining it. So there's lots of ways this can manifest for people. Money being one example. There's lots of reasons things can feel like an uphill battle, but at the core of it, it's from having a dysregulated nervous system and from being identified with the ego. And the ego is this amalgamation of unconscious beliefs and perceptions about yourself, life, and others, but whether or not it's safe to be in the world, whether or not you're worthy or good enough, whether or not others are safe or dangerous, all of these things that form that can prevent you from being who you truly are, from expanding into who you're truly meant to be. So what is the shift of going from life being a constant uphill battle to being in flow? And I'm going to use that as the opposite example in this case, from struggle to flow. And the struggle is trying to control what we can't control and being in this perception of reality in which we are limited, small, unsafe, unsupported. And it's all unconscious. So it's really just witnessing this within yourself in a very loving and compassionate way, because these are the parts of you that haven't felt safe. And pushing them away, what you resist will persist. It's really about holding them in love and letting them know, hey, it's okay. I got you. As your higher self, I got you. As if you would hold like a little child that was crying to comfort them. It's okay. I got you. Because this is really what it is. It's like these pieces of our younger selves that don't feel safe. And that it activates in the present, and it feels like a very real experience in the present moment, but it's the reactivation of an old pattern. By the time we're adult, it's all reactivations of old patterns that were formed in our childhood, past lifetimes, even through our ancestry, through other energies, other people, But really, at the core of it, what causes us to identify with all of these things is the ego. Okay. And so when you stop struggling and you find flow, this is a process of allowing yourself to be guided by your intuition, by your higher self, by the universe, by divine guidance. And a lot of people, I think we all, in a way, kind of know. Everyone knows they have the truth inside of them, what they really want. It's really about giving yourself permission to listen to that and permission to follow that, even when it's really scary, even when you don't know how the steps are going to appear, because by its very nature, growth is going to involve uncertainty because you're becoming someone you haven't been before. And you're not going to know how it's all going to work out. And so this is where the surrender piece comes in, is having faith that, okay, I am supported. The universe has got me. It's going to be okay. I have a decision I've made of what I want in my life, whether it is to be a healer, whether it is to heal yourself, whatever that is, maybe to find abundance, to have wealth, to have purpose, to have just peace and be okay. It all starts with the decision. And once you make the decision, the path will form. But you're not going to know exactly every step in the beginning. You've just made the decision. The next step that you have is faith. Faith and taking inspired action. So when you feel that guidance, that intuitive hit that says, hey, this is the next step. I have a student that was meditating, and in her meditation, she heard the words mind, body, free, which is the name of my business. And then she reached out and we had a chat. And those are the ways the intuitive guidance can show up. That's one example. Some people hear it like that. Other people will have this sensation, feeling in their body. It's just kinesthetic, which is a lot of how I work. People will have a vision in their mind, they'll see visual. And other people will have a knowing. And so it's really about allowing yourself to move forward and asking your higher guidance, your higher self, what is the next step? What do I need to do next? And just listen and just allow these opportunities. When you ask for something, opening up your awareness to receive when the opportunity appears, when the opportunity knocks and says, hey, I'm here, I can help you get what you want. It's about allowing yourself to open up to that and receive that. So it's one thing I've done this lots of times. I'll ask my spirit guides, and I'm a channel. I'm formally trained in channeling. I teach others channeling, and I'm able to connect with all kinds of beautiful spirit guides. And there's lots of times I've asked them things and I got the answer, but it wasn't what I wanted. So I was like, so I didn't do it. And so my beautiful clients, they inspire me so much. I was just chatting with a one-on-one client. We're building up her healing business, and she's just like on fire and taking off because we've done a lot of healing and shifting pieces around alignment that was kind of making things feel sticky. Once we shift those pieces, she's just going. Like I did this, and this, all this is done. And she said, I feel I've done all of these things and I'm so excited, and past me would have been terrified about all of this, but right now I'm just so excited and I'm so grateful. This is her message. And I'm so grateful because I know that my spirit guides have got me and they're going to guide me through every step of the way. And that's what it looks like to surrender. Okay, that's what it looks like. And in that conversation I had last week with my student, my new medicine within student, my medicine within student who's about to graduate, who are in this class together, and he said that all of these beautiful things happened and fell into his lap, just came to him once he allowed himself to surrender, to stop fighting against life and to move with the flow of life. And what does that actually look like? What does it actually mean? It means asking your higher guidance, what's next? And then doing it and then listening to it, even when your ego fires and thinks, no, that's not, I know I don't want to, that's not it, blah, 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 blah. It's like, you know what? I'm just going to try it, see what happens, because this is the guidance that I asked for, and this is the opportunity that's coming into my life. So I'm going to allow it to guide me. And it is by its very nature going to involve stepping into the uncertain, into the unknown, because that is growth. Growth is not following a defined plan. That's just following a defined plan. Growth is becoming someone new, Growth is allowing an even better, more personalized plan for your soul, from your soul, of what step to take next to get you to somewhere even more beautiful, even more purposeful, fulfilling, and meaningful. And so there's been times when my ego has had an idea of how something had to look in order for life to look the way I wanted it to. Excuse me. And when it does that, it becomes more rigid. It becomes more stiff. And there's this thought like, I have to do things a certain way. And maybe all these other opportunities start showing up, but my ego could say, nope, that's not it. I'm doing this thing that is a square box. I can't take any circles. I can't take any, triangles. It's got to be a square box. But how those things show up in your life can take so many different forms and can take so many synchronistic winds in the road that when you maybe go to this place where you don't know why your guides told you to be there, you meet this person, you had this conversation that brought you to this other situation, this opportunity you never could have even realized was possible. These are the synchronicities that take you there on the most direct path. And so your higher self, your spirit guides, you can imagine they're kind of these multidimensional beings that are operating in a much higher frequency above the earth plane. So it's like when you're at a tall building and you look down, you can see a better perspective. You can see the clear path. But when you're down street level, you can't. There's so many things blocking the path. You can't see. So it's really a matter of perspective. And so even when you don't know why this is the next step, but there's a feeling inside of you, but you're receiving guidance that says this is the next step, that's when it takes that faith and that moment of surrender from the ego to follow your path and where you're meant to be going next. And it's okay for it to be scary. Just allow yourself to step forward, even when it's scary, with the awareness of that faith of I'm choosing to allow myself to be guided. I'm asking for protection. I'm asking for support. I'm asking for guidance. And I'm being open to receive that. Okay? So that openness to receive, and that receiving of that support can look like doing the thing that maybe you're meditating and you received a message, following through on that message. Okay, I'm going to, that student I have, she reached out to me. Her higher guidance said, mind, body, free meditation. She reached out and we're working together now. And so this is the kind of thing where life is here to support you and guide you. It's just a matter of being open to receive. And that is the process of surrender from the ego to your higher self, to your divine guidance, okay? And divine guidance is always going to feel loving, compassionate, not controlling, empowering, liberating, freeing, okay? So don't let any other kind of energy guide you. Always loving, compassionate, empowering energy. That is divine guidance. So I'd love to hear if this is resonating with you. Let me know in the chat. And there's a lot of times where I have also been identified with ego, and I'm also inspired by my students when they say things like, past me would have been so terrified, but I am just so excited and grateful because I know I'm being guided, and I know I'm supported, and I know it's all going to work out. Like, that's such an incredible amount of faith and ego surrender into the flow of divine guidance and support. And when you do that, the most incredible things happen. That's where you go through that path of synchronicities, and the trajectory just speeds up so much to propel you to this place of doing what you're meant to be doing, of being in purpose, in flow, in mission, in abundance, in peace, in harmony, in connection. That is really what's on the other side of that ego surrender. But the ego surrender is not always going to feel good. It's like an ego death. It's another way of saying it. And it's just an ego death can feel like a very intense version of ego surrender. And ego death is something that happens again and again and again throughout our life. It's this continuous death of who we believed ourselves to be, the limited version of ourselves, and awakening and into who we truly are, which is our limitless soul. Okay? So you don't die, your soul doesn't die, your energy, it never is created or destroyed, it just changes state, changes form. And so you are the consciousness that is eternal, that has experienced multiple lifetimes and forms and connection with source, the universe, energy, everything. You are all of that. And so it's really the ego when that feels limited and stuck and stopped and fears death, because your soul can never die. And the more you like realize that and come to know that, not as a concept, but as a way of being, as a knowing through your whole being, through your experiences and through your life, that's really when you step into that sense of freedom and peace, because then you just get to play in this experience of being human, and that is what it is all about. It can be really freaking fun on Earth. Definitely resonates. Great to hear from you. Thanks, Tracy. Thank you for being here. I'm so glad that resonates with you, my friend. So, if you are feeling called to step into your path, to go deeper into your calling, maybe you've been feeling it for a long time, maybe you've been dabbling in it, but if you're feeling to really jump into it, if this is calling you in a bigger way at this time and you're ready to answer that call, my Medicine Within class is opened up now, and this is a beautiful healing space to come and be seen and witnessed and loved. Find your own wholeness and healing within yourself and learn how to heal others. And this is through the Medicine Within method, a blend of intuitive healing modalities, of spiritual life coaching, of both modern and very ancient healing practices that it's beautiful. My students will take and they'll use it and share it in so many different ways. So I have one beautiful healer who is now doing healing and mindset work within hospitals. She was a doctor when we started working together, and she was feeling really triggered by her work environment. And now she's actually speaking, to the medical industry of like rooms of 300 people and more, and talking about healing and mindset work, and really sharing her unique gifts within that space. So it's shifted so much for her, and she's working with. She is advising local institutions around bringing mindset into the corrections space, to helping those people with mindset and healing work, and just doing all these really beautiful things in her unique ways. That's a part of her unique mission in this life. And so I have some people who are doing that, other people who are like really leaning into their shamanic aspect and really doing healing and shifting of healing the land, healing, like clearing energy in homes, helping people to really heal and release through a shamanic element. So everyone has their unique path within this, and that's part of what makes it so freaking beautiful, is getting the support of like the actual tangible, the practical, this is how healing works in a really powerful and beautiful and safe way, how to guide individuals and groups and people, animals, energies. This is how we move through healing. This is how you do it in this really both ancient and modern, in this sacred way, in this trauma-informed way. And my students are so beautiful at taking that and plugging it into their unique path and purpose and mission. And we all have that. So if you feel like you have it and you know what it is, amazing, you're connected with that part of yourself, and that is beautiful. And then I would invite you to check in, how much am I living it today? How much am I living it today? Is there more that I could be stepping into? And if you feel like I have no idea what I'm supposed to be doing, and I'm not fulfilled, and it's frustrating, I feel like there should be more, then yes, that feeling that there should be more, that is a feeling that you can connect with, that you are meant for more. And your soul does have all of the answers and knows the path and knows the way, and you can absolutely access those answers. It's just a matter of learning how. And that is something I can help with. Really, actually, that's one of my superpowers, is guiding you back to your own truth so that you can live from that place. Beautiful. Thank you for sharing, Renee. Yeah, and we all do. I love working with people like other healers and being a part of a community that I can also receive, because I love to facilitate and guide, but I am also at a place where I love to be supported. So I also am part of communities and receiving that help and support, because we're so much stronger together. We're not really meant to do any of these things in life by ourselves. And we're at this beautiful time in life right now where there's this big remembering happening of this really ancient and sacred medicine that has been a part of our being throughout all of beyond time and space. So, before Christian colonialism, most of the world was in nature-based religions, nature-based cultures and spirituality, from paganism and shamanism and all of these practices. There was these shamanic practices all over the world where we were connected with spirituality, and maybe not everyone was, but there was always someone in the tribe who played the role of the shaman, who was the healer, who worked between the physical world and the spiritual world, who worked with energy healing and herbs and plants and plant medicines, was able to communicate with animals. And so this is a part of our being. It's not like when I teach my students this, I tell them this is a remembering. There's a knowingness that that is being activated in you, and where you are remembering this part of yourself. It is a dimension of our being. We are spiritual beings, and we've kind of gotten hypnotized through these spiritual dark ages of colonialism into believing in materialism, that all that we can see and touch is what's real, but that can leave this very big feeling of there's something missing, because there is. And this is the spiritual dimension of our being. And that's really what creates this sense of connectedness with each other and all of existence and energy in the universe, and all of our beautiful spirit team and guides and guardians and angels and even earthly spirits. They're all a part of life, a part of reality. And it's really about opening up our eyes and becoming a part of that again, remembering and being able to perceive that we are a part of that again. So scientists have found that humans are only able to perceive less than 1% of the visible electromagnetic spectrum of light. And so we're perceiving less than 1% of reality. And part of that is through our beliefs and perceptions of what is real, of what's not real, of the ego firing and telling us that, no, we can't, we're not connected to that. But when you take those blinders, those beliefs down that blind us, then it's this awakening that happens, and remembering this part of ourselves as a soul that is connected to all that is. So I can talk about that a lot, but we're in this beautiful time in life right now where we're going through this great remembering. And it's really needed, because the human spirit has suffered, the earth has suffered, because all of these shamanic and spiritual practices around the world were repressed. It was illegal for a very long time. People got persecuted for being healers and energy workers, women for being women. So all kinds of repression happened, and it just wasn't safe. It was taboo to be a witch. It became this thing that was portrayed in the media as this very dark thing, but really it's about being a healer and connecting this to this part of spirit and ourselves and our being that is connected to everything that is. And so we're in this time in life where there's this call to remember, to come back into our truth, and to share what we're meant to share in this world and be who we're meant to be. And that's really it. When you go through your life review at the end of life and you come into that interlife place as a soul connected with source, and you look at, how did I do when I didn't remember who I was, when I was having this human experience, which, by the way, kudos to everybody, all of us here, because it's a lot. But when you look back and think and see your life afterwards, will you have seen, I did everything I came here to do. I lived fully. I loved fully. I had faith. I stepped forward. Or was it a lot of like Netflix and Cheetos? No judgment on that. That's fun too. But there's so much more available to you. It's really just a matter of allowing the ego, those scared parts of you, letting them know, hey, it's okay. We're going to be okay. We're protected. We're supported. I love you. I got you. Talking to them as if they were a little kid that you're holding in your lap, and being that higher self and moving forward with faith. And the more you do that, the more and more and more you go deeper into who you truly are, which is your higher self. You are the infinite soul. It's the ego that is the illusion of being limited, unworthy, small. Those are all the things that are not part of the truth of who you really are. So thank you for joining me, guys. I love to hear what's resonating with you. And if you want to learn more about the Medicine Within Academy, just drop yes in the chat, and I will happily send you a message, and we can see if it might be the right fit for you. So thank you for joining. Sending you all my love, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.